All right, lesson 2. So we are now going to be talking about font characters like bold, italicized, underline, how to do paragraphs in HTML, also how to align your text either left, center, or right. You have line breaks, which is creating one space. Then you have a horizontal rule, which is going to create a line underneath the code that you're going to do. So we're going to go through each one step by step. The first step that you want to do is open up the file from yesterday or from lesson 1. Mine was in web programming assignment 6. So there's my web notes. Now here's the first trick. If you double click on this, okay, it's going to ask you to open Google Chrome. If I hit OK, there it goes. Now it's open just like it was the other day, Mr. Hernandez, and a message to my web programming students. But I can't edit this, and that doesn't help me. That's not what I want. So if I want to edit this, now I could open Notepad and open this with Notepad and all that. That's going to take a lot of time. So instead what we do is we right click, which is going to bring up this menu. We're going to open with, and then we're going to choose another app because the app that we have that we want to use is not on here. So we're going to choose another app. Okay, more apps, and you're going to look for Notepad. There it is. So we don't want to always use this app to open HTML files because if we do that, it's going to always open in Notepad. It won't open in Google Chrome. So we don't want to click this box, but we do want to hit OK. And this is just a faster way to get to your Notepad and have this. Okay, so here's what we're looking at. So we're going to leave right off where it says this is my message to my web programming students. Now the first thing we're going to learn about is the line break, which is BR, which is later in the thing, but I'm showing you right now. If I hit enter, that's how I'm going to create a space. Okay, so when I go back to the lesson, we're just going to copy this code because I want you to see what the code will do. It's going to show you here in the lesson, but instead of going to each lesson, we're creating this note file, so that way you'll have all of the information that you need all in one unique ready to go file, so you can pull that code as you need to and you understand what it looks like. So let's go with the bold, right? If I hit control copy and then I go to my Notepad and I hit control V, now it adds that text there. I hit file and I hit save. I'll go back to my Google, hit refresh, and there it is. This text is bold. Now I'm just going to show you very quickly, if I got rid of the line break, if I got rid of the BR and I hit save and I come back up here and I refresh, it all goes to one line because you didn't tell the computer you wanted the text is bold on the next line. So because you didn't put the code in for a line break, it's not giving you one. So that's very important that you make sure that you put a BR. Now later on there's ways that you won't have to put a BR after every single line, but in the beginning just get into the habit of doing that. This way you can have all of your text on a separate line. So go back to the lesson. Now you're going to copy your italicize, control C, and go to Notepad. Now the quick way I'm going to do this is by putting my Notepad right next to what I'm doing. This way I don't have to go too far. So, and then always put your line break, and then do the underline, control copy, put your line break, and we're just going to scroll down. We're going to do the paragraphs. This is showing you how a paragraph works. Okay, so this is your paragraph code. P or uppercase P is paragraph. You could also use lowercase p. That's not going to make a big difference, but usually you want to do uppercase P because the paragraph, it's going to denote, okay, this is specifically a paragraph. That's for your own visual, because there are other things that you could use P for. So specifically paragraph you want to make sure it's uppercase P, so that way you, oh, okay, I know what that is, and I'm doing it. Now, you don't need a line break after the paragraph. Okay, so I'm going to word wrap this, and I'm going to fix this window was actually wrapping. That's what we want, so we can see everything. Now, I'm going to show you this. If I hit File, Save, I did not put a line break. I just have the paragraph. So I don't have the line break on the end of the paragraph, but if I hit refresh, it did give us the line because a paragraph is recognized as on a separate line. That's what a paragraph is. So that's one way that you could use if you put everything in one paragraph. So like this, even although it's written differently, okay, you're still going to get it all on the same line, the way it's supposed to be. So if I add this to my HTML and I hit File, Save, and then I refresh my page, bam. Now it's different. Although this is written with different lots of carriage return, it only displays the paragraph when you put a paragraph tag. Okay, so every time you put a paragraph, it's creating a new line for you. That's what a paragraph is, a double space. Essentially, think of paragraph as a double space, but a line break as a single space. So if I put my code up next to it, line break, single space, paragraph, double space. Just recognize that that's what is happening in this. Then you have your align left. Now I'm not going to put the code for the line breaks because we've been doing line breaks all the way along, so I'm just going to go ahead and put the align left. So what you're talking about is where do you want the text to be displayed? On the left, in the center, or on the right? That's what paragraph align left, paragraph align right means. So here you have a uppercase P, and it's doing the alignment. This is why the uppercase P is important, because you could do several things with paragraphs. So you want to denote where your paragraphs are. Later on, when you're doing CSS, you're going to actually want to label your paragraphs and give them specific names like first paragraph, second paragraph, middle of the page. But that's going to come later. So very quickly, if I hit save on these, I want you to see a big difference in the code and what it's doing for each of these. And once again, if you're using a paragraph, you do not need a line break. So I'm not putting line breaks after my paragraphs because paragraph will automatically put those breaks in for me. That's what a paragraph does. So let's save this, file, save, and then let's go back to our original. Bam. Now as you'll see in the lesson, the paragraph is aligned left to this box. This is centered to this box, and this is aligned right to this box. On your page, it's the entire page. It's left, center, right. Because their code, they have specified that they wanted to stay in those boxes. You did not create boxes. You did not specify that. So I just want you to point out the difference, how that code works. Just putting a line left, it's going to align it to the page because that's what you're saying here in your code. You didn't specify anything else. It's very important that you recognize that unless you tell the computer specifically what you want, it's going to make its best guess because that's what computers do. So horizontal rule, this is just like a cool little line, your beginning graphic ideas. You're probably not going to use a basic line. You'll probably later on learn how to edit that and make it look cooler, but the code won't change. You'll still add a horizontal rule the same way. So this is the code for that, for later on when you want to put a cool break. So for instance, if I wanted to say a cool title like Mr. Hernandez's web programming class and then put a line underneath that because that's my title, that's what the horizontal rule is used for. So if I hit file, save, and then I hit refresh, there's my horizontal rule. Okay, so the code, to break this down, horizontal rules rule is just text. That's not actually part of the code. That's why it shows up over here. The actual horizontal rule is this right here. So let's get rid of horizontal rules rule because we don't need that. We're going to get rid of it, and we're going to hit file, save, This way, the horizontal rule disappears. Now this is the horizontal rule. The line is the horizontal rule. That's all we care about. Now I want to point out, with 80%, if you notice, it's not 100%. If I go change this to 100%, it'll take up the whole page. So this is your first lesson in percentages. If you haven't learned percentages yet, there's 100% right there. But I'm going to put it back to 80 because 80 looks better and frankly makes more sense. You would probably not have a horizontal rule going all the way across the page. I just wanted to show you what the percentage does. So there's your line. You can shorten it. You can make it 50%, 1%, however you want to do it. Size 3 is the actual width. Now 3 is, standard. It's already pretty tiny line. But if I change it to 1, you can't really tell the difference, but a very little bit has changed. You'll probably notice it more if you were to do something crazy like size 20. So if I say save on my size 20, there it is. Now it's creating this box kind of a look. So like I said, you're not going to use a horizontal rule like a basic one, the one that they give you there. You're probably going to change it and add your own, but it's a nice little effect that you can put in there that can give your page a little bit of class, as opposed to just having basic. I put it back to 3. So that is essentially your lesson 2 right there. Everything in the lesson has been covered. So you should now have everything in your web notes. And what you want to do is save this. So file, if you haven't saved again, save it. Okay. And turn in your web notes with this new information into your lesson 2.